Hey guys, it's me again. Um, I just talked to my mom. You guys know I go see her once a week, and I call her every single day. I don't miss a day, um, ever. Sometimes I call and the nurses won't answer the phone, so I don't always get to talk to her because she goes to bed pretty fast after dinner usually. Um, but I have the TV on. If you guys see the light here going across my face, and sitting in the dark, basically. Um, anyways, so I talked to my mom, and you know, there are days I talk to her, and yeah, I give you guys a little update, and there are days it's just so difficult for me to. It breaks my heart, you know, and it's hard for me to talk to her or to process, I guess, after talking to her is really what it is. Um, see. Oops. Sorry, trying to turn on this light. Except for now, it's going to make it dark because I have the light behind me. So we'll try this. Hey. Anyway. um, anyway, it's really difficult. And, I know so many people have never been through someone with dementia. And there are people online who they make videos of their loved ones with dementia. And dementia is different in everybody, as we know. Every single person is different in different regions of their brain, different. And, I talked to my mom today, and the other day when I went to see her, so my grandma, okay, let me start with my grandma. My grandma, we called her Gaga, like a baby says, goo goo gaga. We called her Gaga all my life. I knew her real name, but we always called her Gaga. Um, and when I'm laughing, because my dad, he was a big guy, and he called my grandma Gaga. He went around and called her Gaga. Everybody called her Gaga that, like, in the family that knew her. Not like people in stores and stuff, obviously. But my family, my people that were around her called her Gaga. And long story to that was she wanted to be called Cookie. And this was before me. My brother couldn't say Cookie and it came out Gaga. So everybody called her Gaga the rest of her life. So obviously my grandmother has been gone for probably 11 years now. I think I've explained that she also had dementia. We didn't know that. And that was a long time. It ended up that she, went to the doctor. She got diagnosed with it. She didn't remember she got diagnosed with it. And so, and doctors don't usually call your loved ones. The doctor had started her on the medicine to help slow it down. But my grandma wasn't taking it and was getting worse, the doctor felt. My grandma was still driving. The doctor doesn't usually call your loved ones, but I'm from a small town. She knew who my mom was. She did call her. She said, listen, I diagnosed your mom 4 months ago with dementia. She was supposed to be taking certain medicine. She's not taking it. Well, I'm sure my mom felt like I do, like she was kicked in the stomach. What do you mean my mom has dementia? So, that's when things with my grandma started. I ended up moving in with her for a little bit to kind of keep an eye on her. That didn't work fully. She also had something else wrong with one of her, something to do with her heart and one of the vessels or whatever. Um, so because of that, the doctor decided she couldn't live alone because her washer and dryer was in the basement. Um, and and my grandma, I mentioned she was not a big fan of mine, no matter what I did. And so me living with her didn't work out too well. Um, and then life happened, and I've explained that my mom gave me a choice to move away. And we did move away. We left my grandma. This was before we knew she couldn't live alone fully. Um, Later, I think that's, looking back, we figured that maybe my grandma had dementia from even her late 50s, maybe even early 50s. Because she would do things. Again, I think I've said that, she would use the microwave one or two times and then turn around and get upset and tell us, come show me how to use the microwave. And we thought it was games that she was playing. And we were like, you just used the microwave. Well, I know, but you need to come show me. Well, and people can have dementia or the start of it without people like knowing. And they're good at hiding it. And so because that was kind of stuff my grandma would do. So she did this with a lot of things. And we just thought it was her, basically, I hate to say it, being a jerk. Wanting attention, wanting people to do things for her. And of course, I was pretty young, so it's not like I was, knew what we were dealing with. So we moved away, and then that's when the doctor called and said, she cannot live alone anymore. So they did find out that she had had a few small strokes. What are they called? TIAs or something that were pretty small. So, we ended up going to get my grandma, and, she really had a hard time because, of course, she lived in the same house for as far as I can ever remember, before I was born. Maybe after I was born, but around that time. So she had a hard time leaving her stuff in her house. But she did it. I'm not sure she ever remembered any of it after she left. And she came to live with my mom and I. So fast forward, my mom and my grandma moved here so I could help with my grandma. But my mom could help me with my oldest. Plus I miss my mom. That was definitely part of it. That was pretty much it. I missed my mom. I was homesick. I was young when I left. And she missed me. Again, she adored my oldest. So, she ended up doing stuff that I was able to help with my grandma. And she got worse over the years. But I don't think she ever forgot who anyone was, type thing. We didn't realize how bad she really was. And my mom would take her or leave her at home alone while my mom and I would go out sometimes. And we got to the point that people kept telling my mom, hey, you need to put her in a nursing home. My mom didn't want to do that because who wants to put their parents in a nursing home, right? You feel like you're deserting them or you're giving up on them. and she wouldn't do it. So my mom and my grandma went on a trip back home where I'm from to see the other family. And when my grandma was there, they were there and it was winter. Um, my mom got out to go see her friend, and my grandma followed, and she fell and broke her hip. Well, if you know anything about dementia or Alzheimer's, when something out of the ordinary like that happens, it makes them worse. They get worse, usually. Their dementia gets worse. Everything gets worse. So, um, they put her in the hospital. They found out she broke her hip. They offered to do surgery. And, we all can say what we would do in certain situations, but we don't know until it happens to us or to someone we know. So she broke her hip. My mom decided to do the surgery for her because my mom thought she would come out of it and relearn to walk. My grandma never walked again because mentally she wasn't capable of understanding at all how to walk again, is my understanding. So while she was recovering, my mom had to get back. She was still working. She still had a job she had to get to. She didn't really get, because of the job she had, she didn't get paid vacation days like so many jobs. And so she had to get back. So thankfully my uncle who was there, he was a minister, and on top of that, he also did hospice. He also went into nursing homes and did Bible studies and played the piano for them. So he knew of one that he really liked, and he talked to them, and they said, "Sure, we'll take her." It was because we knew with a broken hip and just having surgery, she was not going to be able to travel as far as they needed to travel. And then my mom being older, you know, um, with my mom being old, with my mom being older, she couldn't get my grandma in and out of the car. She had no one traveling with her. So they put her in a nursing home, and my mom did come home. And, you know, um, I'm not sure if my grandma even talked when she got there anymore to the nursing home. And every so often, my uncle and his wife went to see my grandma all the time. They went and played, brought different toys and silly things and, entertained her, painted her nails, and I'm thankful for, and she would laugh and laugh, and I'm definitely thankful for all those times that they did that for her. When we would go see family, we would definitely go spend time with her and see her. And if you know about dementia, they will start saying sentences and then it trails off. And the last time I saw my grandma, that she was awake, she said, "Oh, there used to be a woman," and she was so excited, "who used to take care of me, and I wondered where you were." And she held my hand and would smile at me because she couldn't finish her sentence. But I think she knew who I was. And it's funny because my mom has a friend that her mom had dementia, and she even remembered my initials. So she knew who I was, and it actually upset my mom's friend because she didn't remember who her daughter was, but she could remember my initial. Now, she did get to a point also that she couldn't speak anymore. But yeah, so that's kind of, what happened with my grandmother. So back to my mom now. So, my grandma was in the nursing home, I will say, she lasted 9 years in the nursing home. 9 or 10 years, which is really good, um, for, people in a nursing home. So, my mom, my grandma's been gone. I know I keep going back. My grandma's been gone 10 or 11 years now. Um, my mom, when we were there, she told us, "Oh, did I tell you Gaga passed away?" And we're like, "Yeah, we know. She's like, "Oh, good." And so at one point, because you got to be careful about correcting them. Because correcting people with dementia can make them go on the warpath too. That you're wrong and how dare you. So, um, so I got to the point and I said to her, I said, she's been gone for quite a while, Mom. She's been gone like 10 or 11 years. And she's like, oh, okay. So then then she has a clarity, of something about, oh, I said, have you seen your mom? Because she tells me she sees, people that have passed from my family. And she goes, well, I haven't. She goes, I hope I haven't seen her. And I said, why not? And she said, because she's dead. Okay. Well, I'm glad that you knew that right then. Um, so tonight I call my mom like I always do. And I asked her how her day was, how she was doing. She said, not very good. It wasn't a good day. She was guarding her grandmother's body. She was protecting it. Oh my. You can imagine. I'm like, okay. And I'm like, and then she got upset because they were, what's the word? They were mistreating her body. People were trying to steal her body. And I'm like, nobody's trying to steal anyone's body, I promise. And I'm like, oh my. I'm like, so I finally got to the point, and I'm like, okay. And then she started saying how they were mistreating her body. I said, nobody is mistreating anyone's body, I promise. And she said, yes, they are, especially the woman around the corner. She's being very mean, and she's mistreating it, and I'm afraid they're going to steal her body. I'm like, Mom, honey, you're almost 80 years old, so your grandma would not be with us anymore, right? And she's like, well, yeah, you're probably right about that. And I'm like, yeah. So nobody's mistreating anything. It's fine. You're fine. You know. So then she started about something about her mom, which basically came to her mom was alive. And again, I kind of weighed it out and kind of tested the water. And I'm like, Mom, you're almost 80. Your mom wouldn't be with us, would she? She'd be over 100 and some years old. It's not likely she would still be here. Well, I'm not worried about me. I'm worried about my mom. And I'm like, honey, your mom's been gone. Okay? So for a few, it seemed like, again, she understood this. And then she got upset because they were mistreating her grandmother's body. But then she also asked where they were buried, which I'm pretty sure I know. This is the problem, for you younger folks out there, and yes, I said folks, that genealogy that your parents wanted you to learn or know, write it down, because I have no idea where or what anything is or who anyone is. I'm telling you, I wish I had it now. Anyways, so I told her, I was like, well, they're probably buried in such and such, right? With the rest of the family. She's like, yeah, probably. So then she was like, well, I was like, so tell me what else, like trying to change the subject, like you do with little kids. I'm like, tell me what else you've been doing today. Well, I've been making arrangements. Plus today is burial day. It's what? It's burial day. And they wanted to bury my mom. And today was burial day. I said, Mom, it's not. It is not. Yes, that's what they told me here, is that it was burial day. And everybody has already surrounded me. And then she said, if you want to help me with the her grandma's burial and stuff, that I could come pick her up. And so I'm like, it's not burial day, Mom. I said, I think you need your hearing aids. I said, I can't wait until you get them because I think you're misunderstanding what people are saying. And then she said, and my hallucinations or something. And I said, yes. So she said, well, it'd be nice if you could come see me. I would, I'd like you to come here and see me. And I said, I was just there this week, Mom, and I will be back next week. Today is Saturday. I will be there next week, okay? Well, if I'm still alive. And she got mad at me. And she said, well, I will talk to you later. Goodbye. And hung up the phone. That part I laughed at because my mom was not the type of person who hung up on people, like I mentioned in the previous video. In her mind, you could tell them when you were upset, well, I got to get off here. I'll talk to you later. Goodbye. Click. And then hang up, right? You don't wait for them to say anything. And I did have to laugh at that because that definitely was my mother. But yeah, this was a very upsetting conversation with my mother to me. I guess it was upsetting because, first of all, nobody wants to talk about death or burials. And to feel like she's going through that hurts me. But it also makes you wonder if it's getting closer to her going. As far as I know, her health is fine other than her mind, but, I don't know for sure. So yeah, that was an upsetting conversation, definitely, with my mom. So, anyways, again, if you don't want to hear about, dementia or Alzheimer's, I apologize. And I pray that none of you ever have to go through this and that they do come up with a cure one day. It is scary because, it just puts so many thoughts into our minds and But, I follow people, for example, on line who they do videos of their parents in their homes or mother-in-laws, and I enjoy them, and you really feel close to the person that has dementia, and some of them might repeat words for everything. um you know some might, I haven't seen any that are aggressive, but they do get aggressive. They do, say mean things. They can hit. And that's the truth of dementia sometimes. And people don't understand that. When we started this process, they were ready to call elderly abuse on me because of things my mom was saying to them that weren't true. After they got to know me, after they got to know her, they realized, ooh, I made a mistake. But that's the bad thing. Is people that don't know you, and people with dementia, especially in the beginning, are very good at hiding it, and it feels like controlling it sometimes. And so, yeah, things can look. I remember my grandma sitting on a porch with my mom, and I used to clean our old landlord's house. And when I would be done with my part of cleaning, I would go sit outside with my grandma and this guy. And she was great at telling stories, wonderful stories that were not true. Stories that sounded like she was, went on so many trips and boats and different things, but it was her hiding her problem and her dementia. So they're very good. So please, if you like, my mom had no symptoms before her stroke of dementia. Um, I have read over and over, if you have a tendency to have it, then after a big stroke, it will come through. Which is really scary because she had no signs of dementia that I've seen. There was a few times, I guess before her stroke, that she would mess things up at work. A few things. But I took it as she was just tired. Because otherwise she was still driving, she was still working, she knew her schedule, like all of that. I never questioned, like, are you okay? Things like that. Like, where are you going? What are you doing? Like, things like that, No one ever questioned that because we never saw anything. She knew how to use everything. She knew who we were. Like, none of that was gone. And, you know, but she had the stroke, and it was the brain bleed, and she started having sundowners. Like I said in the past, after her stroke, or when she was, and still, she was in a rehab facility, and she had a lot of sundowners and not understanding and just scared because hers affected her anxiety and her depression that she's never had. My mom's never been depressed in her life. She and I have talked about that quite often. And she's like, I've never had depression, like what people describe. I've never had anything like, I've never thought about giving up. I've never thought about any of it. Like, but yeah, it was, and her strike was in April, so, not quite a year ago, guys. And I have seen a huge, Huge, huge. From rehab to nursing homes and till now, she has made, not a drastic, drastically worse in a lot of ways. But she's not getting the rehab she was getting when she first got out. I'm not sure, if she would, I don't think she would have ever came back. It might have prolonged it a little bit, where she's at now. She doesn't, she doesn't even look like, she looks like my mother. But like I said, she doesn't wear makeup. And that's a big thing for my mom. She has no interest in it. And everybody keeps telling me, you need to have a makeup day for her. Because they're like, she looks the same. She just looks older because she's not wearing makeup. She doesn't want to wear it. Like, you think I haven't asked her? Because sometimes you put that makeup on, it makes you feel better. My mom, the mom I know, would be humiliated realizing that she doesn't have her makeup on. My mom doesn't go out without makeup. Ever. But she is still the pink lady. I promise that. One of her favorite colors as she got older became pink. I don't think she ever had a favorite color until then, but she started liking pink stuff. So her shirts and just so much is pink. And so she's definitely the pink lady. Her hair started falling out before her stroke. And it's definitely coming out more. Which is heartbreaking because she was very proud of her long blonde hair, as we called it. It was never blonde. She actually had bright red hair, is what she was born with. And throughout the years, it has turned blonde. She didn't dye it. Well, okay, it wasn't blonde. It was white, but she didn't dye it. She just left it as is, and people thought she was blonde. And it was beautiful. And it's falling out more and more, which breaks my heart. Anyways, so again, tonight was rough. And so I'm sharing my stories with you. And, I appreciate you guys being there and listening. And again, I pray for each of you that you never have to go through this. It's really hard. I'm sure it's definitely hard on the patient. Because especially when they realize something's off. There is a point that they realize. I know she goes through periods where she knows. She's like, I'm dying. There's something wrong with me. My brain is never going to get better. She has said these things to me throughout this time. You can imagine me visiting from heaven, she told me the other day. Because I was talking about her sandhill cranes and walking in the parks. And I said, who am I supposed to walk with this year? Who am I supposed to chase your birds with? And she said, you'll have to imagine me there. You have to imagine me coming down from heaven and being with you. And that was hard. Like right now, I'm trying not to cry. Sorry. She goes through periods. She knows this stuff. And it's really hard. Anyways, I'm going to go. Because I don't think you guys want to see me ugly cry. Because when I say it's ugly, it is ugly. But, again, if you guys don't want to watch this, I understand. But not all life can be wonderful and funny and, peaceful either. So I will talk to you guys later. Have a good night. Bye.